Xavi ready to take United job immediately. Romano reveals Barcelona legend's true stance as Amorim pressure mounts. Welcome to United News, your most trusted source for Manchester United managerial news and transfer developments. When speculation about our manager's future intensifies and potential replacements emerge, you need reliable reporting that separates confirmed information from pure speculation. We've been bringing you accurate updates and honest analysis for years, helping you understand what's really happening at Old Trafford. The big question, is Xavi Hernandez really the answer to United's problems, or just another big name without a clear plan? The pressure on Ruben Amorim has reached critical levels after another disappointing defeat. This time a 3-1 loss at Brentford that left United with just 7 points from 6 Premier League games. Now, Fabrizio Romano has revealed that former Barcelona manager Xavi Hernandez is ready to take the United job immediately if the opportunity arises. But this news raises more questions than it answers. Is Xavi genuinely the right fit for United's specific problems? Would appointing another manager who insists on a particular tactical system really solve anything? And most importantly, is United's hierarchy prepared to make yet another managerial change less than a year after appointing Amorim? What Romano actually said. Fabrizio Romano's report provides specific details about Xavi's interest and availability that deserve careful examination. The immediate availability claim. According to Romano, Xavi would go immediately to Man United, even without European football. This suggests genuine interest rather than just agent-driven speculation or media invention. The willingness to join without European football is significant because it shows Xavi understands United's current situation and isn't demanding unrealistic conditions before considering the role. Studying the Premier League. Romano also mentioned that Xavi is studying the Premier League and monitoring the competition. This suggests proactive preparation rather than just passive interest in any available job. If accurate, this indicates Xavi has genuine ambitions to manage in England, rather than just using United as leverage for other opportunities. Saudi competition. The mention of Al Ittihad's interest adds context to Xavi's situation. He has options beyond United, which means any interest in Old Trafford would be based on genuine desire rather than desperation for any job. This competition for his services could also affect negotiations if United do decide to pursue him. Xavi's managerial record. What would he bring? To evaluate whether Xavi would be a good fit for United, we need to examine his actual managerial record rather than just his reputation as a player. Barcelona success and struggles. Xavi won La Liga with Barcelona, which represents a significant achievement at one of world football's biggest clubs. This shows he can handle pressure and deliver trophies when given proper support. However, his time at Barcelona also included struggles and ultimately ended with his departure after tactical issues and inconsistent performances. The question is whether these problems were due to his coaching or Barcelona's broader institutional challenges. Al Sadd experience. His successful spell with Qatari club Al Sadd provided valuable experience, but the standard of competition there is vastly different from the Premier League. Success in Qatar doesn't necessarily predict success in England. Many managers who dominated in less competitive leagues have struggled when facing the intensity and tactical sophistication of English football. Tactical philosophy. Xavi is known for favoring possession-based football built on Barcelona's traditional style. This approach requires specific types of players and can take considerable time to implement properly. The question is whether United's current squad suits this tactical approach or whether significant changes would be needed. The fundamental problem. Is this just repeating past mistakes? The potential appointment of Xavi raises serious concerns about whether United have learned anything from their recent history. The pattern of big names. United have repeatedly appointed managers based on their reputations rather than fit with the club's needs and available resources. This approach has consistently failed to deliver sustained success. Xavi would represent another big name with a specific tactical philosophy that might not match United's squad composition or immediate needs. Tactical inflexibility concerns. One of the main criticisms of Amorim is his stubborn adherence to his 3-4-2-1 system even when it clearly isn't working. Xavi is also known for having strong tactical convictions about how football should be played. Would appointing Xavi just replace one inflexible approach with another? If the current system doesn't fit the players, would Xavi's preferred style be any better? Squad suitability questions. United's squad was assembled under multiple managers with different philosophies. The current group might not be ideal for Xavi's possession-based approach any more than they suit Amorim's system. This raises the question of whether United need to first establish a clear long-term vision before appointing managers, rather than changing direction with each new appointment. The deeper issues at United. Focusing solely on the manager risks ignoring the deeper structural problems that have plagued United for years. Recruitment strategy failures. United have spent enormous sums on players without a coherent strategy connecting different transfer windows. The £200 million spent under Amorim brought in players for his system, but what happens to that investment if he's replaced? This cycle of spending on new managers' preferred players and then starting over when they're dismissed has cost United hundreds of millions in wasted investments. Lack of long-term planning. The apparent willingness to consider replacing Amorim after less than a year suggests United still don't have the patience needed for sustainable success. Building something lasting requires time and consistency. If Xavi or any other replacement struggles initially, will United show the patience they're denying Amorim? Or will the cycle just continue? Institutional problems. Many of United's issues stem from institutional problems rather than just coaching. Scouting, youth development, medical staff, training facilities, and organizational culture all contribute to team performance. Changing the manager without addressing these broader issues is like treating symptoms without diagnosing the underlying disease. Analyzing Amorim's tactical issues. The article's criticism of Amorim's tactics deserves examination, as these same issues could affect any potential replacement. Build-up phase problems. The criticism about using center-backs in midfield during build-up phase is valid. If this approach consistently fails, the manager should be willing to adapt. However, tactical changes take time to implement, and players need to understand new approaches before they can execute them effectively. Defensive shape vulnerabilities. The point about the 5-2-3 shape creating midfield overloads for opponents is significant. If this vulnerability is consistently exploited, it represents a fundamental tactical problem. The question is whether this reflects a flawed system or whether proper execution by better-suited players could make it work effectively. Reluctance to adapt. If Amorim genuinely refuses to address obvious tactical flaws despite seeing them exploited repeatedly, this represents a serious problem that would justify concerns about his future. However, we should be careful about assuming we understand all the factors influencing tactical decisions based on limited external observation. What Xavi would actually face. If Xavi did take the United job, he would face challenges that might prove just as difficult as those confronting Amorim. Squad composition issues. The current squad wasn't assembled with Xavi's preferred style in mind. Many players might not suit possession-based football or might need significant time to adapt. This could lead to the same early struggles that have characterized Amorim's tenure, raising questions about how much patience Xavi would receive. Premier League adaptation. Xavi has no experience managing in the Premier League, where the intensity, physicality, and tactical variety present unique challenges. Many highly regarded managers have struggled with this adaptation. The assumption that success in Spain automatically translates to England has been proven wrong numerous times. Pressure and expectations. The pressure at United is immense, especially for a manager without Premier League experience. Every decision would face intense scrutiny from media and supporters. This environment has broken many managers who were successful elsewhere but couldn't handle the specific pressures of managing United. The financial implications. Any managerial change carries significant financial costs that should factor into decision-making. Amorim's compensation. Dismissing Amorim would require paying his remaining contract, which could be substantial given his relatively recent appointment. This represents money that could be invested in other areas. These costs become particularly problematic when clubs make hasty decisions and then regret them shortly after paying significant compensation. Transfer investment waste. The £200 million spent on players for Amorim's system might not suit a different manager's approach. This represents potentially wasted investment that compounds the cost of managerial changes. Smart clubs avoid this problem by maintaining tactical continuity across managerial appointments, but United have repeatedly failed to do this. Xavi's demands. Any new manager would have demands regarding staff, contracts, and potentially transfer funds. These costs add up quickly and might not represent good value if the appointment doesn't work out. Alternative perspectives. Before rushing to replace Amorim, United should consider whether other approaches might be more effective. Providing better support. Perhaps Amorim needs better coaching support or tactical assistance rather than replacement. Many successful managers have benefited from strong backroom teams. This approach would be less disruptive and might address specific weaknesses without requiring complete change. Addressing player issues. Some of United's problems might stem from player attitudes, fitness, or technical limitations rather than just coaching. Addressing these issues could improve performance without changing manager. The expensive signings' failure to perform might reflect their own adaptation issues rather than just tactical problems. Gradual evolution. Rather than demanding immediate tactical revolution, allowing gradual evolution of Amorim's approach might be more effective. Many successful systems needed time to refine before reaching full effectiveness. This requires patience that United have rarely shown in recent years, but might ultimately prove more successful than constant change. The reality of modern football management. The Xavi speculation highlights how quickly modern football moves and how little patience exists for managers facing difficulties. Shortened time frames. Managers now face pressure to deliver immediate results in ways that previous generations didn't experience. This environment makes building something sustainable incredibly difficult. The expectation that new managers should transform teams within months isn't realistic, yet it dominates modern football. Media pressure impact. Constant speculation about replacements creates self-fulfilling prophecies where managers fail partly because of the pressure generated by replacement rumors rather than just performance issues. This media environment makes it harder for anyone to succeed, yet clubs often contribute to the problem by entertaining speculative links. Fan expectations. Supporters understandably want success and have limited patience when results disappoint. However, fan pressure can sometimes push clubs into hasty decisions they later regret. Balancing supporter sentiment with rational long-term thinking is one of modern football's biggest challenges. What United actually need. Rather than focusing on which big name might replace Amorim, United should determine what they actually need to succeed sustainably. Clear long-term vision. United need to establish a clear vision for what they want to become and then hire managers who fit that vision rather than changing direction with each appointment. This might mean accepting short-term pain for long-term gain, which requires courage and conviction from leadership. Structural improvements. Improvements to recruitment, youth development, medical staff, and other non-coaching areas might be more important than changing manager. These structural improvements would benefit any manager and create a stronger foundation for sustained success. Patient implementation. Whatever approach United choose, they need the patience to allow proper implementation before judging success or failure. This patience has been missing for too long. This doesn't mean accepting failure indefinitely, but it does mean allowing enough time for fair evaluation of whether approaches can work. Conclusion. Questions without easy answers. The revelation that Xavi Hernandez would take the Manchester United job immediately adds another layer to the ongoing debate about Ruben Amorim's future. While Xavi's interest might be genuine and his credentials impressive, his potential appointment raises serious questions about whether United have learned from their repeated mistakes. The fundamental problem isn't whether Xavi is a good manager. His La Liga success with Barcelona shows he can deliver trophies. The problem is whether appointing another manager with a specific tactical philosophy that might not suit the current squad represents sound strategy or just repeating the same cycle that has failed repeatedly. The criticisms of Amorim's tactics have merit, particularly regarding his apparent reluctance to address obvious vulnerabilities in his system. If he genuinely refuses to adapt when his approach is being consistently exploited, this represents a legitimate concern about his future at the club. However, replacing Amorim with Xavi wouldn't solve United's deeper structural problems around recruitment, planning, and institutional culture. These issues have survived multiple managerial changes and will likely persist regardless of who's in charge unless they're specifically addressed. The financial implications of another managerial change also deserve consideration. Paying compensation for Amorim while potentially wasting the £200 million investment in players for his system represents poor stewardship of resources. Perhaps most concerning is the lack of patience that another quick managerial change would represent. If United can't give managers enough time to properly implement their ideas, no one will succeed in building something sustainable at Old Trafford. The truth is that there are no easy answers to United's problems. Xavi might succeed where Amorim has struggled, or he might face the same issues that have plagued every United manager since Ferguson. Without addressing the deeper problems, changing the manager is unlikely to produce different long-term results. At United News, we believe in asking difficult questions rather than accepting simple narratives about complex situations. The decision about United's managerial future matters too much for easy assumptions or emotional reactions to dominate rational analysis. Keep following United News for continued coverage of this developing situation and all the stories that matter to Manchester United supporters. When speculation intensifies and crucial decisions loom, you need analysis that maintains perspective while providing honest assessment of all the relevant factors.